Hi readers, welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads. Lee here, and welcome to my weekend books. I want to start by saying that I'll stop bumping the table and making things shaky. When I was a kid, I thought that every author was rich, that they made a lot of money and lived a Stephen King, Nora Roberts kind of lifestyle. Since I've become an adult, I've realized that that is not true. Most writers have a day job and they have to hustle to sell their work. That's important because I'm going to play devil's advocate on a book that I have mixed feelings about. The first book, I read 3 books this week. The first book I read was All the Young Men by Ruth Coker Burks, a memoir of love, AIDS, and chosen family in the American South. And I have mixed feelings on this one. I enjoyed it, and it was going to go down as a 5-star read until, right before the end, I took some time and looked at Goodreads reviews, and some of the 1 stars, which I was going to mock in my Someone is Mad on the Internet segment, which I'm not doing this time because I did a deep dive on some serious concerns about Ruth Coker Burks. Now, let me start by telling you what this is about. In 1986, 26-year-old Ruth visits a friend in the hospital when she notices a door to one of the rooms is painted red. A patient cries for his mother on the other side, but no one goes to help him. Ruth immediately steps into the quarantine space, comforting the young man in his last moments. Before she realizes what she's done, word spreads in the community that Ruth is the only person willing to help these young men afflicted by AIDS, and she's called upon to nurse them, etc., etc., etc. So, first of all, the questions aren't really about what Ruth says she did in this book, except for maybe the volume. That I think that the claims were actually from later, not in the book. But at the end, she talks about a young drag queen named Billy. Is it Billy? Yes. And his partner Paul. And Paul later in an interview says that Ruth really did help them. And for that, I give her all the kudos. Now to the complaints. The complaints really are stem from some things that happened in 2017. This book was published in 2020. So in 2017-ish, somebody has seen her on an interview or something like that, sets up a GoFundMe so that she can use the money to build a memorial at this cemetery where she buried the ashes of the young men. And they raised like $65,000 of it. According to, I guess, her people, she asked if it could be used for the memorial and medical expenses. Important note, in 2010, I believe, don't quote me on the date, Ruth had a stroke. So she stopped comms with the organizer in 2017 and used the funds for medical bills. And allegedly, according to an Arkansas newspaper article, in 1995, which is around this time, she had a temporary power of attorney on her uncle and refused to give him his retirement funds, which includes his Social Security and VA checks. So, here's where I play devil's advocate, because all of the majority of those complaints and low reviews stem from that GoFundMe account. If you read this book, and I do recommend it, it is clear that throughout her life, Ruth has been financially insecure. And having a stroke on top of that in 2010, I could see where she may have thought, hey, can I use these for my medical bills? And did. So, devil's advocate there. The second complaint is that in this book, she claims that her mother her family owns the cemetery, and she doesn't. Again, devil's advocate. Her mama told her that she had bought up all these plots despite her brother, her mama's brother. So I could also see where a family story gets told and told and told, and you believe it. So Ruth may think that her family owns all those plots, but the evidence does not support that. Finally, like I said about Paul, he does say that Ruth was a great help to him and Billy. But his current partner, she enlisted Paul to help with interviews to promote the book. His current partner believes that Ruth promised him a lot of money in compensation for helping her do interviews. And what I saw is that she kept telling them, after the book comes out, we'll have, plenty of money. Which is back to how I started this. When I was a kid, I thought all writers were rich. Ruth may have thought that she was going to become very wealthy off of the sale of one book. And when that didn't happen, she didn't have any money to give them. So, complicated feelings about this, but the main point stands that Ruth helping out these young men who had AIDS is still phenomenal, especially during that time when most people didn't know how it was transmitted. It was still early days. I think by this point you know how it's transmitted, but there's still a stigma and a fear around it. So, after that, I bought a book, new release, that I was unsure about. I had read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, but V.E. Schwab does a lot of fantasy, so I was unsure about Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, but I think I gave it 4 stars. It's fantastic. It's told in 3 timelines, and there's a twist I did not see coming. Someone described this as toxic lesbian vampires. Best short description I've heard for a book in a while, because this really is that. This is a story about hunger. 1532, Santo Domingo de la Calzada. A young girl grows up wild and wily. Her beauty is only outmatched by her dreams of escape, but Maria knows she can only ever be a prize or a pawn in the games played by men. When an alluring stranger offers an alternate path, Maria makes a desperate choice. She vows to have no regrets. This is a story about love. 1827, London. A young woman lives an idyllic but cloistered life on her family's estate until a moment of forbidden intimacy sees her shipped off to London. Charlotte's tender heart and seemingly impossible wishes are swept away by an invitation from a beautiful widow, but the price of freedom is higher than she could have imagined. This is a story about rage. 2019, Boston. College was supposed to be her chance to be someone new. That's why Alice moved halfway across the world, leaving her old life behind. But after an out-of-character one-night stand leaves her questioning her past, her present, and her future, Alice throws herself into the hunt for answers and revenge. This is a story about life, how it ends, and how it starts. I totally loved this book. There was several things that I wasn't expecting. Again, there was a twist that I did not see coming. Everything was linked together perfectly. In retrospect, I can see myself rereading this book in the future, because even having just reread this, reading the blurb now makes so much sense. Fantastic. If you like fantasy, if you like toxic lesbian vampires, this is the book for you. I will definitely check out V.E. Schwab again in the near future. I'm not going to talk about this one, except for to tell you that next I tried to read Nowhere by Alison Gunn. The writing style reminded me a lot of Ruth Coker Burks. Ruth Coker Burks is not an established author, and she had an assistant or a helper, an actual author help her write the book. this writing style, I just could not. I gave it an evening and dropped it. And I thought, well, is it me? But it's not, because the next book I read, Blood on Her Tongue, I started and finished yesterday, Saturday, the whatever of June. Blood on Her Tongue by Johanna Van Veen. This is also a take on the vampire myth. And this is a very unique take. I totally loved it. This is her, Johanna Van Veen's second novel. I read My Darling Dreadful Thing last year, I think, and enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Blood on Her Tongue. She's just getting better and better for me. I can't wait to read her third book when it comes out. She's definitely going to be an auto-buy author. What is this about? The Netherlands, 1887. Lucy's twin sister Sarah is unwell. She refuses to eat, mumbles nonsensically, and is increasingly obsessed with a centuries-old corpse recently discovered on her husband's grand estate. The doctor has diagnosed her with temporary insanity caused by a fever of the brain. To protect her twin from a terrible fate in a lunatic asylum, Lucy must unravel the mystery surrounding her sister's condition. But it's clear her twin is hiding something. Then again, Lucy's harboring secrets of her own, too. Then the worst happens. Sarah's behavior takes a turn for the strange. She becomes angry and hungry. Lucy soon comes to suspect that something is trying to possess her beloved sister. Or is it madness? As Sarah changes before her very eyes, Lucy must reckon with the dark, monstrous truth, or risk losing her forever. This is gothic vampire at its best, I think. I really enjoyed this. I'm not one for trigger warnings. None of this bothers me in here, but there's some body horror that may bother you. Absolutely loved it. Anywho, that is my week in books. I've got one more video I'm hopefully going to post. I only did one video last week. And that is going to be a book haul. And depends on how much chores I get done on if I get it done or not. So, that is it for me. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. What are you reading that you like? What do you recommend? And, as always, if you've made it with me this far, thank you for sticking with me on my journey, and happy reading.